Hello friends, I welcome you all to this session on C++ programming. So in this lecture, we will again try to understand that how to write a class and with the help of this particular problem. It says that you have to write a class that is beam and the data members are the beam material and the beam length. Then we have to create two member functions, one for initializing the beam, that is set beam, and one for displaying the beam. Displaying beam means the material and the length of beam. And then there is a catch. The catch in this, or the twist you can say, is that here they accept beam material and optional beam length. So this length of the beam is optional. That means you have to supply in priority. That is, it is 2 meter, 3 meter. And if the the person who is creating the instance of it, that means the object of it, doesn't supply the length, so by default that will be considered as the length. So let us write the code for it. So first we'll be creating a class known as beam, and this is having two data members. So first is string the material, beam material, and the beam length. So now as we are using string, so include string. Okay, then we should have public member functions. So first one is for setting up the beam. So set beam is the one. So void set beam, and here itself I am giving, let's say, the T as the beam material, or we can say BM, and float beam length. Then inside it should be beam material is nothing but BM, and beam length is nothing but BL. But in the problem it is saying that, if you look this closely, it says that it is optional. So initialize this with some value. Let's say by default it is 5 meter. So if the length is not given, then we will be taking it as 5 meters. Okay, that's it. Now this part is over, initialization part is over. Then we have to create one more function which will be displaying this. So display beam, and what we have to display, we have to display, let us make it better. Okay, it will be displaying, let us make it better. Okay, so what we'll do, we will first create basically a string. So this will do what? This will create a string with 40 dots. Okay, so that is why the program look nicer and handle. And then as I am using this string manipulator IOManip, so what I can do is set width, let's say 15, and then the beam, material of beam we can write, material of beam, and then we can increase from 50 to, let's say, 20, and this is nothing but beam material, and then handle, and then C out, then again set width to 20, and then beam length, and so this is beam length and handle, and then finally we will be copying this. Oops, Control Z. Copying this and removing this one. I think it is okay. Okay, now this particular function is also over, display is also over. Now we'll be coming to the main, and this is beam. So we'll be creating two, let's say beam 1 and beam 2 as our two objects, and then we'll be setting up beam 1 set beam, and here I will only be giving the material, let's say, and let's say the beam 1 is of iron, okay, and I am not supplying the length. So what will happen, by default the length should come out as 5 meters, okay. So beam material is this, and at the end let us write meter. Now it is looking better. Now in case of beam 2, what I will do is set beam, and here I will write, I'll give some material, let's say it is of not iron, let's say it is of copper, and here I will supply the length, let's say it is 3 meter. Okay, so now once this is done, initialization part is done, then what we can do, we can simply display. So I can say b1 dot display beam, and then similarly b2 dot display beam. That's it, the program is over. So what we have done is we have created a class beam with two data members and two member functions, one for initializing the beam, another one for displaying the beam. So that is how you can run it. So if you run it, so it will be saying that the first beam, now you can see how beautiful it is looking because of this set width manipulator which we have used. So the material of first beam is iron and the length is 5 meter. The material of second beam is copper and the length of the beam is 3 meter, as we have given 3. So the first case is for the by default one, that means 5 meter which we have given, and the second one is the case where we have supplied the length. Okay, so in this way you can work it. Not also this, what you can do is, let's say if you want this program to say that enter the beam material or enter the length, then you can also do it. So here you can write like this, cout enter the material of beam, okay, and then cin so that anything whatsoever has been already present, so white spaces or everything should be removed. So this is required, and then get line and cin, and then this is beam material, okay. So this this is the one which we have supplied, and this is okay, this has gone. Then comes the length, we can supply the length. So so what we can do is we can write like this, here what I'll do, I'll say cout enter length of beam, okay. So cn and then beam length. So so what we'll do is, if the sorry, let us take some another variable right now. Let's say float a here, and we are taking a, okay. So now if a is 0, if user is saying 0, let's say, so beam cannot have 0 length. So what we'll do, beam length we will initialize to, let's say, 5 meters, else beam length is equal to a. So in this way you can also write your set function, and also you can make it look better by using manipulator. So set width, and let's say it is 25, and here also you can write set width and then 25, though this is not a very elegant way, because you have, because here in this case still the author have to, the user have to supply some value, though it is supplying 0, but still it it has to supply, but still doesn't matter, we are just playing with the function and nothing else. So if you run it now, so here we cannot supply like this. Okay, so now if you run it, so it will be asking for enter the material of the beam. Let's say the first one was iron, and we are saying that the length is 0. So what will happen? So it will take, as the length we have supplied is 0, so it will take it as 5. Okay, so here in the second case, let's say it is copper, and the length I am saying it as 3.0. So now you can see the same thing, iron. So by default it has taken 5, but it is not exactly by default, because we have supplied something. Okay, so by default means we are not supplying anything and still it is giving us something. So this is just one way you can write your function. Okay, so in this way you can create your classes. So in this lecture, till this point only. Thank you very much for watching it.